Well, despite the worldwide pandemic, our next guest says Aussies are healthier than ever. Back in Motion Physio Group has seen the highest growth in 20 years during the COVID pandemic. Once something's been taken away, of course, freedom, etc., it's when people are most likely to have a look at what they can do, and Australians have done pretty well. For more, let's go live to Jason Smith from Back in Motion, who's back in our studio. Jason, would have loved to have been talking to you face to face, but we've snuck off to Bendigo to talk about the reopening as well. Talk to us what you've seen in 2020 from your perspective.
Yeah, good morning, Aaron. Thank you. Look, I think you're right. As people are given these instructions by government to stop moving, to stay indoors and to be home, I think what's happened is it's a curious psychology, but Australians have wanted to get moving more than ever. I've spent a 25-year career trying to encourage, beg, even bribe my patients to get active, to exercise more. And it's when they can't that they actually want to do it the most. So it's a great positive spin or outcome from this tragic pandemic.
It's so true, isn't it? For those of us who love to go for a run, when you have that injury, it just makes you want to get out so much more compared to normal when you're like, oh, I've got to go for another run. That kind of inability, someone putting their hand on your head saying you can't do this, makes you want to do it.
Absolutely. I think it's our playful, rebellious streak as Australians. But, as physios at Back in Motion, we have just experienced such a high demand, even during these lockdown periods. And I think it's a combination of active and passive injuries. So the active injuries, because people have got moving so much more than they would have ordinarily been engaging in, but they were deconditioned from being time poor and working long hours. And when they were opportunistic and they took those 1 or 2 hours to ride the bike, to get on the running track, they have actually suffered a whole plethora of injuries. But of course, we've got the opposite.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, but we've got the opposite as well. We've got passive injuries. People have been working from home at the kitchen table on old chairs, tethered to Zoom meetings from morning until night, not even taking the stairs or walking from one office to the next. And I think all of those postural strains and pains have just led to a huge increase in demand as well.
Yeah, you're actually very right there. Of course, I was on a 7-hour Zoom meeting just recently and got up and couldn't feel my legs. And I think that a lot of people are probably becoming a lot more productive by sitting in front of the computer and doing back-to-back meetings as opposed to having time alone to be able to catch up with each other, etc., and walk around the office or go out for a coffee. Talk to us about your business. You've already got more than 200 physio franchises across Australia. What's the growth been like? What's it been like trying to grow in a year like this?
Yeah, look, we're very conscious that a lot of people have suffered extreme hardship during this period, but we have experienced record growth. So other than a couple of very soft months during extreme lockdown where we had technology to provide online services and keep our patients well and safe, many of our practices right across Australia and New Zealand at Back in Motion have been getting 30, 40 and sometimes 50% growth. And I really do think it's this phenomena that Australians in particular have got health back on their radar. We're just thinking, and a pandemic will do this to you, Aaron. It'll make you feel much more sensitive to both physical and mental health. And as we've just seen that demand increase, we've experienced the growth. And of course, we need to keep adapting to that to make sure we keep our communities safe.
Yeah. Well, we talk about adapting. What about predicting where we go from here as the lockdowns start to end? The bike paths are full of people. The running tracks are full of people. The gyms hopefully will be full of masked people until we can finally get rid of those bloody things. But let's talk about what you see for next year. Do we start to return to normal, or have you actually seen real change in the way that Australians are behaving when it comes to exercise?
Yeah, look, it's hard to predict, but my sense, my intuition is that we're going to actually enjoy a window of opportunity here where people will move more and move better. And this is Back in Motion's whole mandate, is to try and get Australians moving. And I think that over the next 12 to 18 months, there will be a heightened awareness of not taking those freedoms for granted and being opportunistic, using their weekends, maybe even with working from home being more of a normal. And as offices reopen, there's kind of a hybrid arrangement where they can work from home some days in the week. It means they can use their commuting times for making hopefully good lifestyle choices, getting out there and continuing the exercise.
All right, Jason, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and great to have a bit of motivation as well. Thanks.
Thanks, Aaron.